Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Budget Tech Show brought to you by Budget Gamers for Budget Gamers. So, I was tasked to figure out what's wrong with this computer. I helped my brother-in-law build this computer about a year ago, and he was playing the games ran smooth, to be honest. Up until about a month ago, we started complaining about heavy frame drop and game lag. I believe it can be either one of three things. One, internet, which I will definitely test at my house as I have a stable connection. Two is obviously overheating. And three, it can be lack of RAM. He only has 12 gigabytes of RAM, and I've seen with heavy benchmarks in Warzone, it requires up to 13 gigabytes of RAM. So speaking of specifications, he has a 3770K i7. That's a 4-core, 8-thread CPU. He's got 12 gigabytes of DDR3 1600 RAM. He has a GTX 1066 gigabyte, and he's got a gigabyte motherboard. Also SSD, a 3 terabyte hard drive, and an 850 watt power supply. So to solve this problem, I'll be replacing the CPU cooler. Even though he's got a nice big CPU cooler, it's called a Tranquil in his computer. That doesn't mean that the cooling capabilities has decreased over the years. Number two, I will be looking at RAM usage. And the last bit would obviously be testing the internet and obviously tweaking the computer a bit here and there, ending processes that's unnecessary in the background, checking for malware, etc. So the way that I'll be going forward testing this is heating up the CPU a bit with some benchmarks, playing some games while I have the temperature open on the side, and then obviously heading onto Warzone and see what it does with my resource manager. And if my theory is correct, I'm running out of RAM. That's an easy fix, just bunging in another 4 gig. So yeah, let's start running some games and see how this PC performs. I'm hoping that it is a overheating problem, seeing that I have a spare Antec. I think this is an A30 CPU cooler. It's not the best, but it's better. This one is brand new, so it's better than a old big CPU cooler that's coolant maybe has dried up in the pipes, where this one is brand spanking new, and I have experience with them. They're not too bad. And keeping down a 3770K cool, I think this will work. So yeah, let's get cracking. Hi and welcome to this benchmark. I'm playing Warzone for you guys today. The reason I chose this game is this is the only game that my brother-in-law will play, and it's a demanding title, so I think we can get a good feel of how the PC will run. So I've been playing for a while now. We're currently at 12 gigabytes of RAM, which is practically his limit. Steady 50 frames per second. CPU is at 72 degrees, which is a bit high for me, personal opinion. The GPU is at 73 degrees Celsius, which is okay. That is okay for a GTX 1060. So yeah, so far I'm not seeing the frame drops that he's talking about. He mentioned that he was quite laggy. He mentioned even he could get 70 frames per second and still have stutter, so that might indicate either internet problem or a bit of lack of RAM, I guess. But I'm not really topping it out yet. Bear in mind there wasn't not really that much screen activity. That's okay. So that fight was pretty smooth. Obviously 52 frames per second is not ideal. I might just dab down on the graphics a bit. But yeah, so far not too bad. Oh, forgot to mention, everything is basically set to max. AA is set to max. The resolution is set to 1680 by 1050. And I have a 150% rendering scale. For me personally, I rather choose higher resolutions than higher graphics. That's just a personal opinion of mine. So far, I'm not seeing too many frame drops. Like I mentioned, I might dab a bit down on the graphics, just so that we can get a solid 60 to 70 frames per second. But otherwise than that, it's looking not too bad. I think I might just go ahead and replace that CPU cooler anyway. It was bought for this purpose. So maybe I can get that CPU down to maybe 60 degrees Celsius. That would be amazing. Let's see here. Okay, there was a frame stutter, the first one. Oh, there's another one. This occurs around fire. This might actually be a bit of a physics problem, eh? Let's see. Just to recap so far the things that I've changed. I changed the physics to the CPU. It was on the GTX 1060. I don't think that will solve the problem. But I did see when there's a lot of things going on, like bullets firing, flames, you know, everything that requires physics, we did see a sudden drop in graphics or in frames. The other thing that I did is I did lower down the graphics a bit. This computer spec-wise should be able to play this game full graphics. However, it's not at the moment, so it might be a physical hardware problem as well. I did update it also to the latest BIOS version. That also didn't seem to help. So the only things that I can try now really is just lowering the graphics a bit more. I just want to make it to a playable experience, and replacing the CPU cooler. But for me personally, the CPU is not overheating at the moment, but it's worth just popping on a brand new CPU cooler, getting it down to a comfortable, let's say 60 degrees Celsius, and that also increases the lifespan of this computer. So let's dive into graphics. I'm just going to set everything a bit lower. So the render resolution is at 4K, but what I will do is I'm going to set this to full screen, back to full screen. Then I'm going to set this render resolution at 125%, which also that will still look nice, considering, yeah, it's about 25% higher than what we are actually seeing now. Then I want to, what am I going to lower? Streaming quality, that doesn't matter. Texture resolution, that's fine on normal. That is fine. Maybe the light, and maybe I'm gonna set off the lighting, and maybe dab down the AI just a tiny bit more. Like I said, I just want to get this to a playable experience. Okay, let's try again. Even with the graphics turned right down, it doesn't look bad. I must say this actually looks nice. This is quite playable. Are you insane, my dude? I will kill you. Okay, let's go find some people and see how this PC functions. Whoops, I was trying to put in my plate, but then I forgot I already had a plate in. Okay, I think without wasting time, I'm going to replace the CPU cooler and try and get the temps down a bit and see what happens. Welcome back. So I managed to replace the CPU cooler with the Antec A30. We're at a steady 60 degrees Celsius, which is already about, I would say, 10 degrees average lower than the other CPU cooler. Let's see if I can keep it at 60 degrees. It's between 60 and 60. I would say 65 max. We're already far ahead of what I was. It might just be at 75 degrees Celsius. The CPU doesn't like the process. So, but let's see. Maybe that fixed the micro stutters. I doubt it. But yeah, maybe it's a combination between turning down the graphics, replacing the CPU cooler. That might actually, I don't know. Let's see what happens. This feels a lot more responsive, to be honest. Also to mention, I did set the physics on the GTX 1060, just so that it takes a bit of extra pressure off the CPU. But yeah, let's see. This feels nice. This is a nice, playable experience. More than playable. I would say this is what you would expect. Yeah, it's looking not bad. I mean, we're seeing 55s on lows and 70s of highs, which is good. I don't mind dropping down to 50 because you can't. If you have a stable 50, you can't really see the difference between 50 and 60. Not really. Maybe a professional gamer might, but for an average Joe, that is perfect. As long as it can drop, but it shouldn't stutter. As soon as it starts stuttering in a first-person shooter, you have multiple problems. You die, you miss shots, all that stuff, because you over-anticipate. I actually want to go walk past fire. I saw it in the previous video, or in the previous benchmark, before I replaced the CPU cooler. Where there's fire, there was problems. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking at fire, nothing. I strongly believe I managed to sort this. So this is a combination between perhaps an overheating problem, even though 70 to 75 degrees Celsius doesn't sound like an overheating problem to most guys, well, to everyone basically. But it would seem between that and setting my physics down to the graphics card and lowering the graphics a bit, I think we're there. I think I reached the sweet spot of making this PC actually run this game super smooth. I actually want to go take a drive. Do not kill me, dude. I just want to go take a drive, my man. Really? Are you going to try and kill me now? I would literally just like to go for a drive. Yeah, this is really smooth. I must say the recording looks a bit laggy. I apologize for that. I just think it's my recording device. So just keep that in mind. But otherwise on my screen it's looking pretty solid. I must say I don't have the bestest video capture card at the moment. But it's much better than what I used to do with just the camcording. So eventually I'll invest in a better screen capture card, but for now that will suffice.
What we do here is go back.
Thanks for watching, guys. I do hope you enjoyed this. This is definitely, I really think I hit the nail on the head. So if you have these problems, one, remember it can be software, which you can fix on my one YouTube video that I've mentioned. The other one is overheating, or set your graphics to a lower spec and setting your physics to your graphics card if you have a powerful graphics card. If you have a powerful CPU, keep it on your CPU. If you have a high-end CPU and a high-end graphics card, well, then you can just leave it for your vendors to decide. So thank you for watching. So that's a wrap for this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Give it a thumbs down if you didn't. Let me know if you have any comment on this episode to make it better for you guys in the future. I would just like to mention I have a entry-level gaming PC up for grabs. All you need to do is just subscribe and comment gaming PC. You can find the link in the description below on how to enter as well. And good luck to anyone who already has entered, and I hope all the best for you guys. Now, to wrap this up on this computer, I did multiple things like I've mentioned. I replaced the CPU cooler, I changed the physics to the graphics card, I lowered the graphics. So in between those three things that I did, and however, I need to mention on lowering the graphics, personally for me, I still had stutters, and when going past flames and anything that requires physics, like I've mentioned, that would drop the frames. But now it seems to be stable. The temperatures are also at a acceptable level for me personally. And I mean, the blue light on the CPU cooler looks kind of rad. I'll also put a photo up of the end product for you guys so that you can see. So otherwise than that, thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and I'll see you guys soon.